Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. I have a quick story time for you guys today. This story took place maybe about 4 or 5 years ago now, so it was a little while back, and it was when I worked at one of the big supermarket retailers here in the United Kingdom. I worked there for only a couple of years, so it wasn't a massive length of time that I was there, and had some good times and some bad times there, as I've discussed on the channel previously. I just happened to kind of remember this odd little story, and I think that it's a perfect example of just how people can be so weird around discussing pretty normal Mother Nature type things like women having their periods and things like that. That there is just this kind of weird embarrassment behind it and a shame behind it, and I really don't think that there should ever be those kinds of feelings surrounding periods. I remember that I was working one of my shifts. I was just minding my own business, stocking up shelves, and these two young lads, I kind of feel like maybe they were a bit younger than me, but not massively younger than me. I heard them chattering in the background as they were walking down the aisle towards me as I was stacking these shelves up, and all of a sudden they stopped me and asked me a question, and it was a deeply personal question about my periods. Do you mind me asking if you use pads or tampons? And me, being the complete blunt to the point person ever, I just simply answered, well, I use a bit of both. Why? What do you want for it? What's going on, kind of thing, you know? And they both just kind of burst out laughing. And then I said to them, well, if you have a problem with it, then you really shouldn't ask questions that you don't want to know the answer to, or you shouldn't ask questions that you are not able to handle the answer. You know what? I think to a certain extent, a lot of people will see this video or they've had similar experiences themselves, and they'll just think, oh, well, boys will be boys. But you know what? I feel like that sort of behaviour is the reason why so many people feel so ashamed to talk about their periods. Why should we? Why should we feel ashamed or embarrassed or any kind of negative emotion, angry, upset, about a perfectly natural thing like having a period? I used to be very nervous and upset and shameful of my periods. But then as I was getting older, I kind of realised to myself that, you know what? It is not something that should be looked down upon and frowned upon and made fun of. The last thing that any woman needs is to be questioned and then laughed at or made to feel like having a period is not normal and it's not natural. I mean, these two young lads, they didn't make me feel bad, but I just kind of thought to myself, like, well, you asked the question, and if you can't handle the answer, then that's your fault. And I said exactly that to them. I said, don't ask questions that you don't really want to know the answer to. And I think partially they were maybe shocked that I even answered the question, but that's the thing with me. I don't care if I, talk about sex. I don't care I talk about periods. I don't care if I talk about that. It doesn't bother me, and I don't think it ever will. And you know what? I feel so happy that I feel that way, because women's bodies are amazing. This is real life, and maybe someday these lads are going to have a partner, and maybe it will be a woman, and maybe they will bleed once a month out of their vaginas, and you know what? They're going to have to deal with that. So it's just something that I feel like these lads are going to have to maybe deal with at some point in their lives, and eventually people are going to have to grow up and realise that periods aren't something to be ashamed of. Thank you so much for listening and watching this video and making it to the end. If you enjoyed it or you find it, I don't know, interesting, leave it a thumbs up. If you're new here, click on that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye guys.